Erev Tov Rabotai, we are continuing with our Mishna Yomi, Masechet Bava Metzia. We are up to Perek Aleph Mishnah Bet. Today's Mishnayot should be Le'inu Nishmat Neria ben Svetlana Ranbai Veliyahu ben Burcha Israelov Chana bad Miriam Sason ben Ryan Yeshua ben Shifra Menuchatam began Eden Amen and Leavdi ben Chaim lechaim v'derefua shelemav Daniel Shalom ben Rosa v'toch shah Cholei Yisrael Nachlama Merav Binyamin Od Zion Chai ben Dvorah. The Mishnah now discusses a case where two people are arguing about an animal that they found. Hayu shnayim rochvin al gabe behema. Two people were riding on an animal that they found. Now the act of riding an animal, meaning sitting on it and holding the reins, even without causing it to move, is considered a kinyan with respect to ownerless items, as the commentaries explain. Or the Mishnah says one was riding the animal and the other one was leading it. Now leading an animal, meaning causing it to move, is considered a kinyan called mishicha. This one says it is all mine because I was riding the animal before you started to ride or lead it. And the other one says it is all mine because I was riding or leading the animal before you. Therefore, each of these people claims that he did one of these actions first and thereby acquired the entire animal for himself. Now, the Rav explains that in the case where one person is riding the animal and the other one is leading it, the rider must cause the animal to move by spurring it with his feet. And this way his kinyan is equal to the kinyan of the one leading it, and they therefore both have equal possession of the animal. However, if the rider just sits on the animal without moving it, it is considered that the one leading has sole possession of the animal and he gets the whole thing. So that's what the case is referring to according to the Rav. The Mishnah says, the law is that this one swears that he owns not less than half of the animal, and the other one swears that he owns not less than half of it, and they then divide the animal. This is because riding or leading an animal is considered to be like holding on to it. Therefore, just as two people holding on to an item each swear and take half, like we learned in the previous Mishnah, the same is true where they are both riding an animal, or one is riding and the other is leading. Now the Mishnah cites cases in which something is divided without an oath. Bisman shem modim, whenever they both agree that they acquired an item at the same time and they are therefore equal partners in it, even if at the beginning each one claimed that he had acquired it first, but then later both of them admitted that they really acquired it at the same time. Or sheshna nedim, or they have witnesses who testify that they acquired it at the same time. Cholkim belo shvuah, the law is that they divide the item without taking an oath. Even if the court has already ruled that they must take an oath before collecting half, if they now agree that they acquired it at the same time, or witnesses come and say that this is what happened, they each take half without having to swear. And this is because an oath is required only to attempt to verify each person's claim. However, in these cases, there is no need for verification since it is clear either through admission or witnesses that each one owns half. And that is it of Mishnah Bet. Mishnah Gimel discusses another case where it is unclear who acquired a found item. Here the question is not who picked it up first, but if the person who picked it up meant to acquire it for himself or for someone else. Someone was riding on an animal, and he saw a lost item on the ground. Literally, Metzia is a found item, but again, the Mishnah is referring to he saw a lost item on the ground that he is entitled to keep. The Amar lechavero teneh li. He then said to his friend who was standing next to him, give it to me. Since he was on the horse and could not reach the item, he asked his friend to get it for him. Natla v'amar ani zachiti ba. The friend took the item off the ground in order to give it to the rider and then said, I have acquired it for myself, meaning that he has now decided not to give it to the rider, but to take it for himself instead. Zachaba, the law in this case is that the friend has indeed acquired it. Although he originally picked it up for the rider, he did not intend to acquire it for him. Rather, his intention was then to hand it to the rider so that the rider could lift it and acquire it for himself. This is because the rider said, give it to me, as opposed to acquire it for me, by which he meant hand it to me, not acquire it for me. We therefore assume that the friend followed the rider's instructions and picked up the item only to hand it to the rider and not to acquire it for him. If the friend had picked it up to acquire it for himself, it would surely be his. The point of the Mishnah is that even though he originally picked it up to give it to the rider, he may still change his mind and keep it for himself. Therefore, the rider did not acquire the lost item, and when the friend then decided to take it for himself, he acquired it. And in the following case, however, the law is different. Im mishenitana lo amar ani zechiti batchila. But if after the friend had given it to the rider, he said, I acquired it for myself first, meaning he claims that when he picked it up, he meant to acquire for himself and not for the rider. Lo amar klum. He has not said anything, meaning his claim is not believed, because if it were true, he would have not given it to the rider. Rather, we assume that he picked it up only with the intention of giving it to the rider, as the rider had requested. Therefore, the rider acquired it when it was handed to him. And that is an Abotai of today's Mishna Yomi. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen v'amen.